No matter where in the world, we love Guyana. What are your colors? How do you represent? I love Guyana. Order yours today. We ship worldwide. Delta 9 Media.
One love, one people, the mission complete. One love, one flag, one nation, right? Under the stars, divine presence in the sky. Unity, no war, let the children thrive. Power to the people, we keep hope alive.
One love, Delta 9 family. One love. Now, if you can hear me and you can hear me clearly, please and thank you. Drop a 9. Drop a 9 into the comment section if you can hear me and you can hear me clearly. Please and thank you, Team Delta. Please and thank you. As you can see, I'm in a different studio area today. So I just want to make sure that we coming through clearly. We're very early, a very early flight, and we had to bring this for you. We had to make sure that you were updated with these very important and trending details. We're hearing from a number of international news syndicates and allegedly confirmed from authorities in the US as well. The Venezuelan president and his wife has been captured. Now, if you can hear me and you can hear me clearly, please and thank you, moderators, channel members, persons that are viewing right now. I see there's almost 100 persons watching me live presently. Please and thank you. Drop a 9 into the comment section if you can. Drop a 9 so that I know that I'm coming through and I am coming through clearly. Big up yourself every time to everybody that's going to watch us in the future in the rewind. Thanks for being a part of everything that we got going on right here on Delta 9 Media. Abiola, big up yourself, Abiola Michael. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation, Abiola. Thanks for tuning in and for definitely dropping that 9 in the comment section so I know that we're coming through and we're coming through clearly. It says an early morning flight, buddy. Early morning flight. What are your views, Team Delta? What news? What news for the first part of the year? What does this mean? What do these new developments mean for everything that's going on in Guyana right now? What does this mean for cost of living? What does it mean for the immigration in Guyana? What does it mean for the amount of persons that we hear now doing a lot of squatting and building up squatters, residents, and even the VP was voicing his opinion about the situation going on with the migration and the fact that they want to make it a thing where it's more than 5 years that would allow persons the opportunity to vote in that beautiful region of Guyana. I'm telling you, big details, big developments internationally that is going to have a lot of local implications. Who's in the comment section right now? What's going on? Lexus, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. You're saying Cecilia Flowers was unalived by Delta Force Commander. CNN has already confirmed this. I'm telling you. Well, you see the developments is coming in and they're coming in rapidly. Thanks for dropping that, Lexus, and updating the live broadcast with those details. I'm telling you, so many things going on in our region right now. Does this bring now a situation where we could say, all right, the Caribbean is back to being a zone of peace? Or is it a situation where, right, we could look forward to more of these unrest going on, or even a retaliation from China or Russia right within our region. We all think about these things, buddy. What are your views about these developments? I'm telling you, what a headline to wake up to. What news for Guyana just recently, for those who are following, just recently, earlier in, well, you see, it's a new year. So I gotta say, just last year, 2025, remember the aggression that Maduro was having towards Guyana, right? A number of things was going on, big back and forth between him and President Ali. What are your views now, Team Delta? What are your views? Persons watching in Guyana, persons watching all over the globe. Definitely. Roscoe is saying Trump is winning. Lady Sherry, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Lady Sherry is saying, I'm just waking up and hearing that the Venezuelan president and his wife were captured by the US. Is this true? Well, Lady Sherry, it's definitely true and confirmed by International News Syndicate. And we're about to get into a number of these details right here on Delta 9 Media. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation. Let's get into some of these details straight away. Straight away. Because I'm telling you, there's so much going on in our beautiful nation. And we got to make sure that we're paying attention to these details. Because if we ain't paying attention, there's a number of things that could go over we head right now, because the headlines them coming in and they're coming in rapid, but look here we're going on right now.
Knocked out basically, or at least made inoperable, and then you pick a time where people are not going to be active, where they're not expecting you, and just like the Japanese did to the United States in Pearl Harbor, you come in and you surprise them, and that's basically what we see here. The element of surprise is absolutely critical. The Venezuelans clearly knew that we were out there. They didn't take a moment in time, and that I think is a way in which the planning process works. And when I was at Special Operations Command, the very first thing my boss told me was that we needed to know which way the door handle turned. And what he meant by that was a euphemism for describing the exquisite detail of intelligence that is needed. Most intelligence folks in the military forces, they have basically a general appreciation of what's going on. They talk in aggregate terms, in high-level terms. It's basically fine-grained analysis of all the possible vulnerabilities. You make sure that you know what those vulnerabilities to your forces are and what the capabilities of the Venezuelans are. And you try to, you have some worst case scenarios and you pick some likely scenarios, and that's how you develop your plans. And those plans are then what's executed once the decision to go ahead is made, once in essence the go order is given.
And Colonel Layton, I know it's a bit difficult to get into, but what do we know about the Venezuelan Air Force and Air Defense Forces? We know that Venezuela has been allied both with the Soviet Union and then also with the Russians. But it seems as though there were no surface-to-air missiles fired from what we know. Choppers went into Caracas, and also we don't have any record of any Venezuelan Air Force jets trying to confront the U.S. What do we know about their capabilities?
So we know that, for example, what the Venezuelans have is actually a mix of forces. They have the Su-30 fighter.
All right, let's quickly go across to Ambassador Sajanhar, who's joining me on the broadcast right now. As you could see, all of those details coming in from CNN. Ambassador Sajanhar, U.S. President, in fact, confirming that there has been a strike conducted by his own country, and that The Venezuelan president and his wife have been captured and flown out. The supporters of Maduro are already calling this an imperialist attack. How do you assess the situation?
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Yes, you know, there are a number of points that are very striking. Number one, that this development is a very stunning development. You know, it was, of course, it was building to this, but it was never expected that it would take place so suddenly. Everyone was talking whether, you know, there is going.
I'm telling you, the element of surprise, one of the most instrumental forces in any conflict, is the element of surprise. And that was the element that gave the advantage, apparently, to the forces that went in and did what was necessary to put an end, apparently, to the conflict going on in the Caribbean. Let's hope that this now allows a number of the military forces that was deployed into the Caribbean to now find different locations, you know, to carry out their dealings. Let's hope that this now brings back that element of peace into the region of the Caribbean, right? Unsigned music is saying World War III has begun. I'm telling you, there's so much implications into what went down, right? Let them come. They won't. Dipin Dharma is saying, is this true? USA strikes Venezuela. Definitely it's true. Dipin Dharma. Mr. Smith, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Mr. Smith is saying, maybe Maduro can now tell America which investment firm is laundering all of the money, which firm is laundering the funds. I'm telling you, a lot of insights coming in from persons in the comment section. I want to ask persons that are watching us live right now, almost 200 persons live with us as we unpack these very impactful headlines right here on Delta 9 Media. I want to ask that you take a couple of seconds and make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you hit that thumbs up button. Thank you.
To be just an air attack, which had been something that had been happening on the boats in the seas, also on some of the landing docks. A couple of days ago, it had taken place, but that it would be so absolutely, you know, to capture the president and his wife and take them away. Of course, more details will come in the coming hours and days, but this is a very well, I will, you know, I'm at a loss for words to define it, but it is very striking. It is very stunning in the manner in which it has taken place. And the fact that there has been no resistance whatsoever from Venezuela is also very, very defining, because one would have expected that when you have an attack taking place, there would be sort of scrambling of jets, and Mr. Maduro.
They were saying that if there was an open attack in Venezuela, that they would retaliate with attacks on a lot of neighboring countries. Guyana being one mentioned, Trinidad being another one mentioned. Are these countries on high alert? There was a message that was shared by the president of Guyana that was circulated to the people. But a number of people in Guyana has been making mention about this situation and calling for attention and focus on this matter because it was being brushed under the rug for a while now. And we're going to get into some of those details right here on Delta 9 Media. If you have not already, hit that subscription button. Make sure you subscribe, buddy. It costs you nothing to see connected with all of these very important and trending
Had been
details.
saying that he was prepared, he had so many missiles and all, but for the president of the country to be captured in this manner without any resistance, again, more details will come out in this. Of course, they could have also realized that Venezuela was no, I have said it on your channel that whatever muscle flexing that Venezuela might do, that President Maduro might do, but they are really no match for the sort of firepower and the uh, capacity and capability that the United States has. But then we also know that United States was not willing to get body bags from this conflict, so they would not.
So there's reports that there was no U.S. casualties, which I could tell you, everyone in the U.S. is happy to hear that none of our servicemen or women were unalived on this mission. And we thank them for their service. You see what I'm saying? Real thing. And as we analyze this situation, what does this mean for migration now? For the other parts of the Caribbean and for neighboring regions to Venezuela. What does this mean for the cost of living in these areas? Let me see who's in the comment section right now. Jasper is saying both drugs and oil. I'm telling you. Jean is saying that this is a terrible situation. Big up yourself, Jean. Thanks for tuning into the live presentation. Brenda is saying, why was Nigeria bombed? I'm telling you, that's another very interesting situation that's going on the globe right now that we got to make sure that we do a live on, because that went down when persons were celebrating during the holiday and festive season. Thanks for dropping those very insightful comments into the comment section, Brenda, and thanks for tuning in. Lady Sherry is saying, I heard Colombia is concerned. I think you were trying to say concerned. Well, I heard that Colombia is concerned about the influx of Venezuela through its borders. Yeah, Colombia is concerned about it, Lady Sherry, and guess what? The vice president of Guyana, right, also highlighted the fact that the sovereignty of the nation could be at risk by the level of migration. And we know that the largest amount of migrants right now, allegedly, is coming from Venezuela. So now with this crisis, could you just imagine what's going to go down? No, Maduro is a bully. Holy Media, thanks for tuning in and being a part of the live presentation. Holy Media is saying, Holy Medic, is saying that Maduro is a bully. Yeah, he was trying to bully we over in Guyana, and now look what happened. See what I'm telling you? He was trying to bully we, buddy. He know that we had not the military to confront him, and he was coming at me with all kind of thing, all kind of bully tactics. And watch what happened now, eh? Telling you. Jeffrey saying Trump day will come. What does that mean, Jeffrey? Expound on that. Expound on that. Anthony is saying we want the Venezuelan government of Guyana story. Well, that Anthony, that probably was a dream you had. That Venezuelan government probably would have had something to do with Guyana. But listen, sometimes persons has got a plan, but other things just be executed, right? Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the live presentation. Dippin is saying, I subscribed, sir. Thanks for being a part of the team. Dippin, and Everybody else, do what they can just do what is. Subscribe. Be a part of the live presentation. We're updating and unpacking these very, very important headlines right here on Delta 9 Media.
Put boots on the ground, but that they would carry out such an audacious operation and carry out so very successfully, at least from the information coming in so far. It does what Mr. Trump has said, that it does sound that it has been audacious, it has been successful. And of course, Mr. Trump will take all the credit for it, and you can already see the chest thumping that is he's been doing. But the matter will definitely come if all the details that are coming out are correct. Matter will definitely come to the UN Security Council, and definitely countries like Russia and China are going to pillory the United States for its violation of international rule of law.
Absolutely. And that's why I want to bring you in, Ambassador Sajanhar, given the kind of eyewitness account that are currently trickling in. Remember, Caracas is a valley. And in fact, journalists are sharing
Martin is saying the P.P.P is Guyana's bully and will end up like the Venus or like the Venezuelans. I'm guessing that's what you're saying right there. Big up yourself, Martin. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation.
Traumatizing experiences. They're saying that people are still running frantically for cover. They're exchanging messages. There's a lot of fear that is gripping Venezuela as we speak, even though the Venezuelan government has called out the Maduro supporters, his own socialist base, to go out there and in fact call for a wider movement. All of that certainly doesn't seem to be happening, given that you rightly highlighted that there's
Ibraj is saying, who can war with the beast? Who can make war with the beast? I'm telling you, Ibraj, that's a very powerful question. Thanks for dropping insightful commentary into the comment section. So real is saying, OMG, is this real? I'm telling you, it is real, so real. That's what's going on right now in the Caribbean and Venezuela region. We're hearing that Mr. Maduro and his wife were captured. We're even hearing conversations that he's already out of the country, both him and his better half. All right. Adam is saying the world is in such a sad state of affair. The US really needs to go bankrupt. They are destroying the world. I'm telling you, Adam, leave this. I hope those words don't see reality, sir, because there are a number of persons that live within the US that would have to be affected by all of these implications if the US indeed was to go bankrupt. And the world in itself would be affected and would have a whole lot of bad implications if that was to happen, if you could think about it, because a lot of nations are connected to the economy of the United States. Let's be real about it.
No reaction coming in. But let's talk about the build up to this. The US president has firmly maintained that this is to do with the drug trafficking that's been happening right under the nose of Nicolas Maduro. There was targeting of the speedboats in the build-up of that military campaign that US had launched 5 months ago in August of 2025. And so we've seen US strike happening on a docking area where they claim there were speedboats that were in fact carrying out their drug operations. So many critics also have questioned if it is actually drug trafficking and the spread of drug and gang members in US by Venezuela, if that is actually a reason for conducting this strike. I'd like your thoughts on that aspect.
No, absolutely. I think this is the question that everyone has raised. All this bombing of, in the seas that has been taking place of these boats, which are allegedly And I underline, emphasize this word allegedly because this is what the United States maintains. This is what Mr. Trump maintains. This is what Pete Hegseth maintains. This is what all the U.S. Administration maintains, that these were carrying drugs, and on top of that, there have been 2 or 3 oil tankers
Yes.
of Venezuela that have been seized. Now, oil tankers have nothing to do with the drugs. That is normal trade that is taking place, and even if you impose sanctions without the sanction of the United Nations, that is not a legal sanction, because it has not been imposed by, it has not been discussed and decided by the global community as represented in the United Nations. So that is also falling foul of international law. But we see that the United States, under Mr. Trump, and even before that, they have been doing what they think is in their own interest. United States went into Iran without any UN sanction and bombed Natanz, Isfahan, etc., etc.
Okay.
So here also they seem to have done so, and many countries, many people, many commentators have been raising questions as to how legally justified they are under international law, because there is no evidence that has been advanced. And Mr. Trump has, of course, been maintaining that Nicolas Maduro is at the head of this drug cartel, which are, peddling drugs all through.
So, Ambassador Sajanhar, hold on to those thoughts. As much as the US may want to claim that this is because of the drug trafficking that was being done by Venezuelans at the behest of the Venezuelan president, remember, important to highlight that there's a lot in Venezuela that is also coveted by countries across the globe, not just the United States. You're looking at China, you're looking at Russia, you're looking at Iran. Why? Because Venezuela happens to be a country with the largest oil reserves. It's also strategically located in the Caribbean. That also proves to be a very viable alternate to, say, the Panama Canal. A host of all of those reasons we will be deep diving into. But for now, we're slipping into a quick break, going to, in fact, request Ambassador Sajanhar to stay with us as we return.
Keyword here, large-scale strike on the South American country. Trump's stunning announcement follows months of steadily mounting U.S. military and economic pressure on leftist leader Maduro and his country's oil export-dependent economy. And this is the latest from the United States. U.S. President Donald Trump held a telephonic interview hailing what he called the brilliant operation. Trump said, and I quote, "A lot of good planning and a lot of great troops and great people." According to reports, the U.S. Army's elite Delta Force unit carried out the operation to seize Maduro. U.S. Senator
elite. When you hear they bring out the Delta Force is the elite of the elite when it comes down to the military, right? So those are the men and service women that they would have sent in to make sure that this was executed and executed flawlessly, because we're hearing that there were no casualties. And object bingo, there's no more Maduro in Venezuela. So what are the implications for the nations neighboring? What are the implications for the entire Caribbean? Let's get into some of those details that went down just recently in Caracas.
We also had Russia condemning this strike. Remember, Russia and China have been two countries who have been behind Venezuela for a very long time. Russia says the actions by the United States are condemnable. China has not reacted yet. We are still waiting for a statement from China. Iran has also reacted to the US strikes on Venezuela. Iran says that the country should be able to govern its own institutions and to secure its own sovereignty. And now with the whereabouts of Nicolas Maduro, according to the vice president of Venezuela, are currently unknown. The future of Venezuela without Maduro is also unknown. This is how the geopolitics of that region has changed, because like I mentioned, Latin America is on the edge because countries that neighbor Venezuela are on high alert. Colombia did send their troops to the Venezuelan border because they fear that the United States may attack their country. We also had the president of Colombia issue a statement and actually list some of the areas and states which were bombed. And the defense minister of Venezuela did say that they are collating all the data from the states that were targeted and struck, and the number of people who have died from these strikes or those who have been injured will be made public. Venezuelan government did say that or claim that America or the American military had targeted residential areas. This is yet to be confirmed, but until now, this is the latest from Venezuela. The vice president did address the nation via an audio recording where she says that the whereabouts of their president are currently unknown, and they want proof of life of both President Nicolas Maduro and the First Lady, Celia Flores, to be made public by the United States.
Wow.
And also the latest coming from the United States. According to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, he says that the operations in Venezuela are complete after the capture of Nicolas Maduro. And this is according to a senator who had called the Secretary of State. His name is Mike Lee. He says that the Secretary of State did assure him that all operations or the events that are happening in Venezuela are complete. But still, the region remains on alert. The United States has accused Maduro of leading a criminal narco-trafficking organization. So this is something that has been going on for months now. Accusations that Nicolas Maduro has been denying for a while. It also does not recognize him as a legitimate president of Venezuela after the 2024 elections were widely dismissed as neither free or fair. For its part, Venezuela has accused the United States of wanting to steal its lucrative oil reserves, which are thought to be the biggest in the world. What is really unclear is what happens now in Venezuela itself if Maduro is indeed gone. Focus is still on Venezuela. We'll keep you updated on the latest as it comes in our newsroom. Let's move on now to sports. South Africa have named their 15-member squad for next month's ICC Men's T20 World Cup to be co-hosted by India and
Walton this year is warning of grave implications for Guyana should a war break out in neighboring Venezuela. Speaking this morning on Go Mosley Radio's New Day program, Walton Desir said not only would Guyana face a migration crisis, but there will be a social crisis as well. She said while she does not support the Maduro regime in Venezuela, persons calling for war in Venezuela must look at the bigger picture of what that war could do to a small country like Guyana that shares a border with Venezuela.
Do you understand what this means for Guyana should this happen? Do you understand that our lives will never be the same if war breaks out in Venezuela? And so we've got to understand the implications for us. Let's map it out. War breaks out in Venezuela. Immediately you're going to have migrant flows increasing. Right? Venezuela is a country, 26 million people. Imagine 300,000 of them just coming over the border to add to the 100,000 that we have already. And because it's a war, you're not at liberty to turn them away because they're now refugees. And so based on international convention, you have a duty to provide shelter and safe harbor for them.
Additionally, MP Walton Desir said she believes that a united CARICOM is needed now more than ever, explaining that a regional grouping will have greater influence to calm the situation if the members can speak in a united voice. She observed that in recent times that has not been happening due to individual countries in CARICOM having their individual interests. However, she said leaders in the region must now try to navigate the issue that could pose a clear and present danger.
What we're seeing is this this aspiration that we've held on to for decades about the region being a zone of peace. We see that slipping away, and that has to be concerning. As it relates to the strikes, there's an ongoing debate in the US about the legality of it or otherwise. I'm sure that they will sort that out. For us in this region, though, our leaders, the ones that speak on our behalf, have to understand that now is the time for them to be very sober and very temperate. Because we have seen this play out in other parts of the world and it never ends well.
Yeah, hearing the implications. That's coming from leaders in the political space in Guyana right now, one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and Venezuela's direct neighbor that recently was going back and forth. We had recent conflicts with them, and it's been going on for a while, but recently it was meant to create a situation of unrest in our nation and through the Caribbean. But from what we could see going on right here, and what we're hearing is that there might be a quail to this situation. It might be over, at least for now. At least for now. We're hearing some of the implications coming from the Honorable Amansa, one of the members of Forward Guyana movement. The president cannot wage war on another country without Congress approval. Well, there's a lot of, what we could say, strings that might have been pulled and things that might have been done to allow this situation to be facilitated, because it might not have been assigned as if it was war. It could have been to protect the individuals that were carrying out the raid for a drug terrorist.
The opposition member of parliament said while some countries in the region may face security challenges, CARICOM as a whole must advocate for a return of the rules-based system. In recent months, the U.S. has been building up its military assets and flexing its military might in the region as it seeks to put pressure on the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro to step down. The U.S. has said that it is fighting drug trafficking and targeting drug cartels in Venezuela. It has carried out aerial strikes on more than 24 suspected drug boats, killing over 80 suspected drug traffickers. The situation escalated yesterday when the U.S. military seized that oil tanker.
Now, there's so many more developments. So many more developments. International news syndicates are saying this.
Power. I'm not going to tell you how to think. Wow. So again, but I was saying that. I was saying before, I was just saying like a half an hour ago, I was saying, you know, well, there seems to have been a lot of other military activity besides just capturing the guy. And so, according to Senator Mike Lee, Secretary of State Rubio says all the other military activity, the helicopter strikes at targets on the ground, the bombing of a military base and a military airfield and a military I think the main port in Caracas. And supposedly Secretary of State Rubio said all of that was just to protect the law enforcement people who were coming in. I don't know. So there you go. Thanks to B&O News for finding that. Anyways, I wanted to let you know about that. Let's get the sound back on here. Where did I have it here? This one. Lee says Senator Rubio anticipates no U.S. Senator Lee. I'm sorry. U.S. Senator Lee says the Secretary of State Rubio anticipates no further action in Venezuela now that Maduro is in custody. This is a big breaking news. Oh. I missed that part of the post by B&O News. Look, Mike Lee says U.S. anticipates no further action in Secretary of State Rubio anticipates no further action in Venezuela now that Maduro's in U.S. custody. So this is very interesting. So what if the Maduro regime?
So that confirms that Maduro is in custody. That confirms that the operation went down, right? NOD is saying, and the UK, please big up yourself. NOD A705, thanks for tuning in, being a part of the live presentation. NOD is saying Trump is implementing the will of the people. Big up yourself. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation, NOD. The Real is saying Venezuelans want this. Mexico is the real problem. Big up yourself, The Real. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of this live presentation. Chocolate Face, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the live. What's going on? Everyone knows he's in custody. That's ILD News Delta. Well, we're unpacking the headlines, Chocolate Face. What's going on here? Thanks for being a part of the live nonetheless. It couldn't have been a war. It ended in less than an hour. I'm telling you. I know something was going to go down, you know. You don't bring all of the military might into a region without a reason. Without a reason for all of the military personnel to be there. Why else? Right? Something was going to go down. Something was going to go down, and it was only a matter of time. Carlitos is saying the US just turned Venezuela into a rogue state. What are your views about that, Team Delta? What are your views about what Carlitos is saying right there. Drop it into the comment section or definitely call it in. The WhatsApp number is scrolling on the screen. The hotline is open and live. Speak with hundreds of persons all over the globe on these headlines and other pressing details. And I want to thank everybody that's in the live right now. And if you haven't taken a couple of seconds, take a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen, to hit that subscription button. It costs you nothing to stay connected with all of these trending details. Very important. And Chocolate Face was asking, what is this flag that's over my shoulder? Chocolate Face, that's the flag of the wealthiest nation in South America, the fastest growing economy in South America, if not one of the fastest growing economies in the world. That there, sir, or ma'am, is the flag of Guyana. And I want to thank all the new persons that are in the live right now. Take a couple of seconds and subscribe. It costs you nothing to be a part of Delta 9 Media. Let's continue with these very trending and important headlines.
Regime just stays in place. What if the vice president becomes the president or something, and pretty much the whole regime stays in place? Is the U.S. going to be okay with that? Is the aircraft carrier going to leave, and are all the ships going to leave? I don't know. Wow. One of our viewers thinks they will behave. Anyways. It's also interesting that Mike Lee is posting that when there's been no official statement about that from the government.
From the US president himself, who has confirmed that it was the US strikes on Caracas. As you can see, the civilian and military infrastructure being targeted over there by low-flying aircraft, leading to a series of explosions, plumes of smoke, in fact, billowing out of that military infrastructure that was targeted. Most importantly, the US president himself over there confirming that the Venezuelan president, along with his wife, have been captured and flown out. Let me quickly take this forward with Siddharth Mishra, who's joining me on the broadcast with more details. Siddharth, to begin with, if you can share the components of the US president's message. Also, how are the supporters of Maduro currently reacting, given that the government of Venezuela have called it an imperialist attack by the United States?
RT is saying this. RT is saying the Venezuelan people already voted for the woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize. Maduro just won't step down. Thanks for being a part of the live, RT, and for dropping insightful commentary into the comment section.
Well, this has come as a surprise for everyone of us who have been tracking developments in Venezuela very closely. In fact, since morning when these videos started flooding on social media platforms, in fact, we were under the impression that it could be some serious strikes which U.S. forces are carrying out against the narco cartel in Venezuela. Some docks must have been hit, the airport, their godowns must have been hit. But now President Trump has confirmed that it is a coup which has been carried out by the U.S. forces in Venezuela. In fact, the first overthrowing of the government by the U.S. forces under President Trump's second regime, Akanksha. I would put it this way. And now President Trump, in the post he made on Truth Social a short while back, says that U.S. carried out large-scale strikes in Venezuela. In fact, he also says that President Maduro and his wife have been captured and flown out of the country. Now, Akanksha, leader of the free world, is using words like captured.
Right.
And the president of Venezuela and his wife, his family have been captured by U.S. forces and have been flown out of country very smoothly. U.S. has managed to do this coup. In fact, as I said, that it all happened very secretly. In fact, just a short while back, we were expecting that it could be some serious military strikes being conducted, being led by CIA, but it was a coup being carried out by the U.S. forces, overthrowing the Maduro government. And now this has been confirmed by President Trump, that the family has been flown out of Venezuela. In fact, we have a statement from the defense minister of Venezuela confirming that the fight is still continues. Perhaps, I find it very weird, because when Maduro is out of the country, defense minister is saying that I am the new boss. But let's see till when he will be able to give fight to the U.S. forces. But for now, Maduro is no more the president of Venezuela. He's out of the country. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of chaos on the streets of Venezuela in days to come, because there's going to be no head, no government present there for now.
This entire military operation has followed after months of pressure on the Latin American country's president. Remember, Siddhant, not only was Maduro being targeted, but the country in itself was on the brink of an economic collapse. What are the challenges currently that are already foreseen, whether in terms of, say, a collapsing economy, a lack of law and order, given that the president and his wife have been captured and flown out? What can you tell us?
Well, Akanksha, Maduro was no saint, to be very honest. In fact, the way the elections happened in Venezuela, in fact, it was very well decided that Maduro is going to come to power. They were not free and fair. In fact, U.S. Agencies have been providing several evidence of Maduro's direct involvement with the narco cartels existing in Caribbean and East Pacific. There have been multiple attempts being made by Maduro in last few months, Akanksha, to reach out to President Trump. In fact, he wrote a letter to President Trump in September, giving proposal for direct talks
I'm so sorry to interrupt you there, Siddhant. I'll have to quickly cut across to live coverage coming in on CNN. Let's tune in.
Welcome back, folks. And we have major breaking news that we're following from Venezuela. U.S. President Donald Trump says President Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been captured in a U.S. attack and flown out of Venezuela. Mr. Trump says on his social media platform, the U.S. has carried out, quote, a large-scale strike. He says there will be a news conference at 11 a.m. Saturday morning at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. The Venezuelan opposition declined to comment on the situation after multiple explosions struck the capital, Caracas, and other parts of the country early on Saturday morning. The U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee was not notified ahead of time of any military action in Venezuela, source tells CNN. We want to go live now to Caracas and journalist Mary Mena, who's standing by for us. Mary, first of all, I want to get your reaction to this stunning news coming out of the U.S.
Well, so far we haven't heard from government officials. We just saw information sent by the Ministry of Defense, General Vladimir Padrino. He called for a massive deployment of military forces in Venezuela. That is the immediate reaction that...
So we're hearing that the militia was deployed, right, in Venezuela. So this is an active thing. This is going on right now. What is going on in Guyana? Are Guyanese aware of all of these implications and all of these developments that we're waking up to on the 3rd of January? So many things going on in Venezuela, so much going on right there in the beautiful tropical region of the Caribbean. Mr. Boston is saying Vietnam #2. Let's hope not. Let us hope there is no nuclear implications into this situation right here. Mr. Boston, let's hope that that's not the case. Thanks for tuning in nonetheless and for being a part of this live presentation. Almost 1,000 persons watching us live. If you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, take a couple of seconds. Make sure that you're subscribed. It costs you nothing to stay connected with Delta 9 Media. Gary is saying this: the United States doesn't play. Yeah, we don't play, and we support and salute our servicemen and women, right, for their service and for making the sacrifices to make sure that we are safe right here in the United States. Sheesh is saying, is this legal? We gotta ask ourselves, what is legal? Right? That's gonna be the definition, and that's gonna be the conversation coming up very soon and very shortly, because this is gonna have a number of implications for the US, for Venezuela, and for a lot of other nations. A lot of other nations are going to be affected by these headlines and all the developments that are coming in right now. Let's listen.
We have so far, and for now the city of Caracas remain in calm. It has been like that for the past couple of hours. This began about 1:52 a.m. in the morning. Several blasts, as you said, we hear across the city, but right now the capital is in silence. We heard from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying, blaming the U.S. for the attack before President Trump spoke about that. And then, well, we received information from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying there was 3 attacks in 3 strategic areas in Venezuela, in Miranda State, La Guaira State, and Aragua State. Those are key strategic locations where the military forces have infrastructure. So far, we hear the one here in Caracas, nearby this place in La Carlota Airport. It is a military airport that is mostly used for military forces. Then we will listen to many airplanes and helicopters passing by, but right now the city remains quiet for the past 2 hours. We haven't heard for people, for example, coming to the streets, and the state channel keeps repeating this message from the Ministry of Defense, saying they want to calm the people to remain in calm, and then they will deploy military forces across the country. Right now, also, we are trying to get information of the reaction of regular citizens, and most citizens have decided to remain at home, especially due to the conditions. In the statement released by the government, they say they call for a state of emergency, and we don't know exactly the implications of this state of emergency, if people can, drive by the city, or they could be detained. So that is why many people have decided to stay at home and to wait for more news on the development.
A state of emergency in Venezuela right now. A lot of implications for Guyana, a lot of implications for Trinidad, a lot of implications for the entire Caribbean, because we know the US border lockdown tight. So there's no way that they will be getting back into the US via illegal migration. That's a very mountainous challenge, right? If they were to attempt something like that. So now it's all about places closer with open borders like Guyana and other places. A state of emergency, as Maduro and his wife are allegedly taken into custody. We're hearing that persons are still calling for a sign of life from the, well, we can't even say former president of Venezuela. We're hearing high-ranking officials asking for there to be a sign of life for Nicolas Maduro and his wife, as they are now alleged to be out of the country.
Comment on the developments of this information, and of course the importance of the new information, piece of information released by Donald Trump, saying that Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores are out of the country.
Yeah, and I want to be clear about that. The Venezuelan authorities at this point are confirming that an attack has taken place on Venezuela by the U.S., but they are not confirming that Nicolas Maduro was the target and that he's been taken out of the country, or that he was taken by the U.S. Is that correct? Yeah, it looks like we've lost Mary Mena to contact with her there, but I want to bring in now Vanessa Newman. She's the former special envoy from Venezuela to the United Kingdom and to Ireland. Ms. Newman, I just want to get your take on what we're seeing unfold here and what could be behind it.
Kelly is saying that this is not about drugs, it's about oil. Thanks for dropping commentary, insightful commentary, into the comment section. What are your views, Team Delta? What are your views about what Kelly is pointing out right there? She's saying, listen, this thing is bigger than these allegations of drug trafficking. It's more about the oil, given that Venezuela has one of the largest, if not the largest oil reserve known right now on the globe, right? T6 is saying Venezuela is the Western Hemisphere hotbed of election fraud, not just in Venezuela. Thanks to everyone that's a part of the live presentation right now. Everybody that's dropping insightful commentary into the comment section, I thank you for tuning in and for dropping insightful commentary. If you have not already subscribed, take a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Take a couple of seconds to make sure that you are connected with Delta 9 Media. Hit that subscription button. It costs you nothing, but that's how you support independent media. That's how you support Delta 9 Media. Let's listen to this. These very important.
Vanessa Newman, one more time. Ms. Newman, in case you can hear me now, I want to get your take on what we're seeing unfold in Venezuela right now and what's behind it. All right, looks like we can't hear Ms. Newman either. So I want to go back to Cedric Layton, a CNN military analyst and retired Air Force colonel. Colonel Layton, obviously you walked us through some of these stunning developments and how the U.S. could have pulled something off. We've been seeing these videos of U.S. or choppers, we don't know if they're U.S. choppers, seemingly flying above Caracas. How would a raid like this unfold? Because while you said this is sort of reminiscent of when the U.S. pulled Manuel Noriega out of Panama, Venezuela is a much bigger country, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is, Fred. And one of the key things here is the distances involved in everything. In Panama, you had a big advantage in that we had forces in the Panama Canal Zone, we had forces around the country, and the planning for that operation had been going on for months, basically actually over a year. Before it was actually executed. In this particular case,
Wow. So Tina is saying, you guys do remember that Venezuela went from rich country to people starving, right? Go Trump. Big up yourself, Tina. Thanks for dropping insightful commentary in the comment section and for being a part of this live presentation.
Didn't have the luxury of time, or the U.S. didn't have the luxury of time. We're going to assume, for the sake of this conversation, that it was the U.S. that did this. And the key thing here is that the one advantage, though, that we did have in this particular case was the fact that we had arrayed all these forces just to the north of Venezuela in the Caribbean. So with that, it gave us a platform, gave the United States a platform to actually go into Venezuela. The first thing that you do in a case like this is you look at who can see you, what kind of radar coverage is there in Venezuela? How do they look at, what do they see? How do they look at the types of aircraft that are flying around their country, even in peacetime? And then from that, you can assess kind of where the gaps are. And when you assess where those gaps are, that's where you determine where some of your targets are. So that would basically be the first wave. And with that first wave, Fred, what you end up doing is you end up eliminating that risk, because radar coverage and other forms of detection are basically a risk to your airmen, to your special operations forces, and to anyone else that you're moving into a country like this, which is basically denied territory. So when you go in there, you take out the first area, the radar installations, and then you also make sure that any anti-aircraft installations that are arrayed against you, that those anti-aircraft installations are knocked out, basically, or at least made inoperable. And then you pick a time where people are not going to be active, where they're not expecting you, and just like the Japanese did to the United States in Pearl Harbor, you come in and you surprise them. And that's basically what we see here. The element of surprise is absolutely critical. The Venezuelans clearly knew that we were out there. They didn't expect this specific operation to happen at this specific moment in time, and that I think is a way in which the planning process works. And when I was at Special Operations Command,
Patrick is saying Kamala called it. But we just heard that the presenter was saying that's how the operations just work, Patrick. That's how the operations work. We already know something was coming down. We already know that something was about to take place with all of that military might being moved into the Caribbean. We knew that something was going to go down. It was only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Stealth, thanks for being a part of this live presentation. Wait, what did Venezuela get bombed? I tell you, it went down, Stealth. It went down right there in Venezuela. Let's go to some of the visuals of what took place. Let me pull that up so we could get a chance to see some of what took place.
Just a hand out of Venezuela. Loud noises have been heard in the capital of Caracas this morning. These are some pictures we've just got in. Also heard in the southern area of the city near a major military base, which is reportedly without power. Aeroplanes have been heard, and a column of smoke has also been visible in the capital. At least 7 explosions have been heard in the capital, Caracas, accompanied by a number of low-flying aircraft. Loud noises have been heard in the southern area of the capital, near a major military base, and the area is reportedly without electricity. A column of smoke is...
Rusty is saying this. Rusty is saying every dictatorship in the world has a night light on right now. And they got the night light on high, looking over their shoulders to see if it's about to be them next. Thanks for being a part of the live, Rusty. Maduro cannot be captured. Well, it seems like you're the only one that believes. You're the only one that still believes that, Derek. We're going to get those updates coming in at 11, so make sure that you are subscribed, because we know that there are going to be pictures and there's going to be more information coming in from the White House and President Trump. This conversation between Trump going after Maduro for a number of different reasons, it started off even in his first term. But we could see that it was completed in the second. A number of developments going on right now. Let's see.
visible. The Venezuelan government's made no comment at this stage. The explosions were first heard around half an hour, 40 minutes ago. It's just gone 2:30 in the morning in Venezuela. We're going to go now to Lucia Newman, our Latin American editor, who's coming to us from Santiago. Lucia, what can you tell us?
Yes, sir, I'm hearing the same thing, that roughly 45 minutes ago, there were explosions heard and smoke was seen rising from Fortuna. Fortuna is not that far away from the presidential palace. It is the main military base in Caracas. It's a key center there. And a series of explosions we're hearing were heard throughout the area. And then there was a blackout. We're also hearing that ambulances were heard, sirens are being heard there right now. People are being evacuated, presumably soldiers and other people key to that fort, Tuna, which I can assume was the target of whatever it is that happened. But we don't know exactly how this explosion happened. Was it an airstrike? Was it some kind of a sabotage? Was it an accident?
Mamá huevo, qué locura. Mocaí.
Scenes from the ground in Caracas and other parts of Venezuela recently. And Carlitos is saying this: it's easy to bully poor countries. Powerful point. Carlitos is saying it's easy to bully poor countries. Remember just earlier in 2025, right? Less than a year ago, Venezuela was showcasing a lot of aggression towards its neighbor Guyana, a country with a smaller population and an even smaller military force. You see? Powerful point, Carlitos, and thanks for highlighting and dropping insightful commentary into the comment section. He's saying it's easy to bully poor countries, but you can't bully the US. You can't bully the US. You could bully Guyana, but you meet your meter.
Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda, porque tú no estás explotando. Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, ¿oyó?
Mamá, huevo, ¿qué mierda es esta?
At first, it felt, or it sounded like there was a huge truck or like a big plane flying around. And then there was kind of an earthquake. And then, as it was described before, explosions started happening. The sky started to lit up in orange. There was fire blowing. You can still hear the planes right now, but there hasn't been an explosion in a few minutes. Windows are shaking. Everyone's blowing up my phone. We're calling each other. People from outside of the country and inside of the country are calling each other, making sure, are you close to the explosion? What are you seeing? Everyone's on high alert. Again, nobody really knows what's going on, but we can see clearly it's getting bombarded. This is unusual for Venezuela. This is not something we're used to, honestly, on a day-to-day basis.
Greetings, you're on to Delta 9 Media Live. I guess we lost that caller. Feel free to give us a call back if you were disconnected by accident. Remember, the hotline is open and you can call in.
Y allá, mira, allá. Ay, chamo. Mamá, que pasaron aviones y yo escuché. Ay, mamá, mira otra. Shit. Ay, mamá. Apaga las luces, apaga las luces. Ay, carajo. Carajo. Shit. Apaga eso y apágalo. Mamá, tremenda explosión. Sí, mamá. Para allá, mira. No, cuidado con el teléfono, No sé qué hace, hace que los nervios te den. Ahorita se prendió en candela, weón. Viene otro. Dale. Se está explotando una verga por allá. ¡Uy! ¡Nos están invadiendo! ¡Nos están invadiendo!
Venezuela. Loud noises have been heard in the capital of Caracas this morning.
Wow. Wow, just wow. Scenes from the ground, and you could just sense the terror in the people that got to deal with that situation up close. And that's why we were always saying right here on Delta 9 Media that we don't want the situation to get to the point where it has to be open warfare, where it has to be a situation where the ground now will feel the embrace of the military force that is literally in the water there waiting on them. All the time we were hoping that this situation would have come to some better end, but as we could clearly see, the end is as is presented. Maduro captured, allegedly in custody, and his wife as well. What are your views? Call it in, drop it into the comment section. And I want to thank everybody that's in the live right now for being a part of the live presentation and for dropping insightful commentary in the comment section. If you haven't already, subscribe. It costs you nothing to stay connected with Delta 9 Media. Hit that subscription button, buddy. Persons are saying big up to President Trump. 01 is saying the war is over oil. Maxine is saying that Trump needs the people's oil. Julia is saying, I'm sorry that you were used to have a vote during Biden's administration and then you were thrown out. Julia, I'm not sure if she's sending that comment to someone in the comment section. That's crazy. Julia, no, don't abusing out nobody in this comment section, Julia. Please and thanks. Please and thanks. Keep the comments about, what's going on right now. This is a very serious matter. This is a very serious matter with a lot of far-reaching implications. We're talking about what appears to be open warfare in Venezuela right now, and we're hearing that the president was taken into custody, his wife as well. We're still to get confirmation of signs of life for both of them. We're hearing a lot of implications, a lot of conversation, and so many updates. We just got a chance to see scenes from what is going on the ground. A lot of international news syndicates are giving in the updates as they come in as well.
Command. The very first thing my boss told me was that we needed to know which way the door handle turned, and what he meant by that was a euphemism for describing the exquisite detail of intelligence that is needed. You know, most intelligence folks in the military forces, they have basically a general appreciation of what's going on. They talk in aggregate terms and high level terms, but when it comes to specific operations, those that are involved in that, they get very detailed. It's basically fine-grained analysis of all the possible vulnerabilities that you might encounter. And when you go in to a place like Venezuela, you make sure that you know what those vulnerabilities to your forces are and what the capabilities of the Venezuelans are.
RT is saying Trump is the best president in modern history. Big up yourself, RT. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation and for dropping insightful commentary into the comment section. Again, we want to say a special thank you to the servicemen and women that would have risked their life to execute that mission. We're hearing that there were no U.S. casualties confirmed. Salute for your service every single time. Clyde is saying, yep, Trump. Thanks for being a part of the live, Craig. Reginald is saying if Congress don't remove Trump from the White House, he will be coming for Guyana's oil next. Warning to Guyanese. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Because, Reginald, you keep forgetting that the U.S. got a big oil reserve. You know? The U.S. has its own oil reserve. Check it out for yourself and see. Check out U.S. oil reserve. And you're going to see, well, what need would that be for them to do something like that when they already have one of the largest companies that's operating within the oil is a U.S. company, which is Exxon. So I can't really foresee something like that. But you never know. Powerful point though. But the U.S. got their own oil reserve. People keep forgetting now. 2016, Trump exposed all the leftists, or the leftists actually exposed themselves. Venezuelan people are free now. I'm telling you, let's hope that this lifts a lot of situations for Venezuela and our brothers and sisters could find themselves in better living environment in a country with full access to its wealth, right? Because don't forget that Venezuela is the country with the largest oil reserve. So by right, they're supposed to be one of the wealthiest nations, one of the most affluent societies that you could participate in right now. So let's hope that this opens the door for a lot of development, a lot of growth, a lot of progress within Venezuela. You know what I mean? Real thing. And let's hope that it happens very fast for our brothers and sisters in Venezuela. Gloria is saying, rise up, Guyana. Big up to Guyana every single time. Thanks for dropping that in the comment section, Gloria. Gregory saying, have a nice flight. Pick up yourself every time. Gregory, thanks for tuning in. Let's hear some more of these details before we analyze some of what persons in Guyana are saying about this.
You try to you have some worst case scenarios, and you pick some likely scenarios, and that's how you develop your plans. And those plans are then what's executed once the decision to go ahead is made, once in essence the go order is given.
And Colonel Layton, I know it's a bit difficult to get into, but what do we know about the Venezuelan Air Force and Air Defense Forces? We know that Venezuela has been allied both with the Soviet Union and then also with the Russians. But it seems as though there were no surface-to-air missiles fired from what we know. Choppers went into Caracas, and also we don't have any record of any Venezuelan Air Force jets trying to confront the U.S. What do we know about their capabilities?
So we know that, for example, what the Venezuelans have is actually a mix of forces. They have the Su-30 fighter.
All right, let's quickly go across to Ambassador Sajanhar, who's joining me on the broadcast right now. As you could see, all of those details coming in from CNN. Ambassador Sajanhar, U.S. President, in fact, confirming that there has been a strike conducted by his own country, and that the Venezuelan president and his wife have been captured and flown out. The supporters of Maduro are already calling this an imperialist attack. How do you assess the situation?
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Yes, there are a number of points that are very striking. Number one, that this development is a very stunning development. It was, of course, it was building to this, but it was never expected that it would take place so suddenly. Everyone was.
People saying that it was building to that, but they never expected it so suddenly. Right? PDX is saying that Trump is still the president. Definitely the president that was behind this execution, the execution of this task, you know what I mean, in the Caribbean, that can see a whole lot of progress and development in Venezuela. Now that a lot of hurdles might have been moved out of the way for them, and a lot of problems might have been moved out of the way for Guyanese and for persons in the Caribbean who are at home and in the diaspora abroad, all over the world. Right now, we could look at this situation and say, well, yes, at least we understand that there was small amount of casualties. We know that we're hearing that there were no confirmed U.S. casualties, and the developments are coming in as follows.
Talking whether, there is going to be just an air attack, which had been something had been happening on the boats in the seas, also on some of the landing docks. A couple of days ago, it had taken place, but that it would be so absolutely to capture the president and his wife and take them away. Of course, more details will come in the coming hours, and
more details definitely on this will be coming in. So if you want to make sure that you stay connected with everything that is updated about what's going on in Venezuela, in Guyana, and everything related to this situation, make sure you take a couple of seconds and hit that subscription button and turn on the notification bell. Put that notification bell on all so you'll get all the updates, right? Who is in the comments section? Persons are dropping. Thanks to everybody that's in the comment section right now. Maxine is saying this. He does everything illegal and gets away with it. Who is that we're referencing, Maxine? Who is that? I'm guessing that's a continuation to our conversation. Adia is saying, what even happening in this world right now? I'm telling you, as we jump into this new calendar cycle, so many developments, so many things that we didn't foresee is the reality right now in this world, Adia. I'm telling you. Let America solve its own problem first. No one wants to be colonized by America due to the plundering of resources. War crimes. That's what Ray M is saying. Big up yourself, Ray M, and thanks for being a part of this live presentation. Vigil is saying global takeover. Lad is saying strong country, eh? When a criminal is armed, you never can tell what he is going to do. Julia is saying, why can't they just leave people alone and let the people live? That's what Julia is highlighting. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation. I'm seeing a number of comments that we will jump back into so that we could have a real conversation, whether in the comment section. Do remember that the hotline number is on the screen if you would like to be a part of an international conversation on these very trending headlines. Andrew, please be respectful in the comment section. Thank you very much. Please be respectful in the comment section. You could disagree, but you can do so respectfully. You know, we try to keep the conversation respectful over here at Delta 9 Media. You could disagree, but we could disagree respectfully. We're all adults here. You don't need to disrespect one another, right? There's enough going on in the world right now.
Days, but this is a very well. I will, I'm at a loss for words to define it, but it is very striking. It is very stunning in the manner in which it has taken place, and the fact that there has been no resistance whatsoever from Venezuela is also very, very defining, because one would have expected that when you have an attack taking place, there would be scrambling of jets, and Mr. Maduro had been saying that he was prepared, he had so many missiles and all, but for the president of the country to be captured in this manner without any resistance, again, more details will come out in this. Of course, they could have also realized that Venezuela was no, I have said it on your channel that whatever muscle flexing that Venezuela might do, that President Maduro might do, but they are really no match for the sort of firepower and the capacity and capability that the United States has. But then we also know that United States was not willing to get body bags from this conflict, so they would not put boots on the ground, but that they would carry out such an audacious operation and carry out so very successfully, at least from the information coming in so far. It does what Mr. Trump has said.
Successful, surprising, right? Salute again to our military brothers and sisters that would have executed this one flawlessly. You hear persons are saying right there about it. Surprising. That means they kept the most important element of war, the element of surprise, all the way up to the execution of the task. Salute. Thank you for your service and for making sure that we are safe here in the great nation of the United States of America, right? Debbie is saying it's sad to see innocent people on the ground will be hurt. Definitely, definitely, Debbie. It's sad to see. And we were always here saying that I hope that this situation don't continue to heat up. Even when the first drug boat allegedly was blown up, right? Even when that first situation went down, where the first persons were unalive because they were allegedly trafficking and US forces took them out. I said, boy, this ain't looking good. Bloodshed right here. Something is going to come out of this. This is going to continue to build and build because they're not going to be willing to make that move without being willing to make other moves, because military is not going to move like how regular people do. They're going to be planning ahead. They're going to be strategic. They're going to have all types of drills that they're going to play way before any of this that went down, that was so flawlessly executed. What's going on in the comment section? What a person saying in the comment section right now? Little is saying amen. I think persons are going back and forth. Gotta love the Delta Force. I'm telling you, the Delta Force, right? The elites, the ones that went in and executed. When you call in the Delta, you know it's gonna get done right. Delta is gonna do it right every single time. Delta got it right. I see CK is saying, God bless the Delta Force operators every single time, and we thank them for their service. Gregory saying the Delta Force always hit their mark. Period. I'm telling you, man.
That it does sound that it has been audacious, it has been successful. And of course,
Delta
Mr. Trump
Force
will take all the credit for it. And, you can already see the chest thumping that he's been doing. But the matter will definitely come if all the details that are coming out are correct. Matter will definitely come to the UN Security Council, and definitely countries like Russia and China are going to pillory the United States for its violation of international rule of law.
Absolutely. And that's how I want to bring you in, Ambassador Sajanhar, given the kind of eyewitness account that are currently trickling in. Remember, Caracas is a valley. And in fact, journalists are sharing traumatizing experiences. They're saying that people are still running frantically for cover. They're exchanging messages. There's a lot of fear that is gripping Venezuela as we speak, even though the Venezuelan government has called out the Maduro supporters, his own socialist base, to go out there and in fact call for a wider movement. All of that certainly doesn't seem to be happening, given that you rightly highlighted that there's no reaction coming in. But let's talk about the build up to this. The US president has firmly maintained that this is to do with the drug trafficking that's been happening right under the nose of Nicolas Maduro. There was targeting of the speedboats in the build-up of that military campaign that US had launched 5 months ago in August of 2025. And so we've seen a US strike happening on a docking area where they claim...
Telling you. Chris is saying this. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation, Chris. Chris is saying there is no part of this operation a surprise. Anyone who understands the history of the US would have known what the outcome would be. I'm telling you, very insightful. Thanks for dropping those comments into the comment section.
There were speedboats that were in fact carrying out their drug operations. So many critics also have questioned if it is actually drug trafficking and the spread of drug and gang members in US by Venezuela, if that is actually a reason for conducting this strike. I'd like your thoughts on that aspect.
No, absolutely. I think this is the question that everyone has raised. You know, all this bombing of in the seas that has been taking place of these boats, which are allegedly, and I underline, emphasize this word allegedly, because this is what the United States maintains. This is what Mr. Trump maintains. This is what P.P.P maintains. This is what all the U.S. Administration maintains, that these were carrying drugs. And on top of that, there have been 2 or 3 oil tankers.
Wow, there's a lot of damage. Bradley is saying, thank you, Trump. I'm sure that's the sentiment of a lot of persons right now in Venezuela as they anticipate just how many hurdles might have been removed by the removal of persons that were running the country. We heard the developments. We got a chance to see what was going on the ground. Just now we're going to hear directly from persons in Guyana on the developments that's going on in Guyana from persons in parliament.
Of Venezuela that are being seized. Now, oil tankers have nothing to do with the drugs. That is normal trade that is taking place. And even if you impose sanctions without the sanction of the United Nations, that is not a legal sanction, because it has not been imposed by, it has not been discussed and decided by the global community as represented in the United Nations. So that is also falling foul of international law. But we see that the United States, under Mr. Trump, and even before that, they have been doing what they think is in their own interest. United States went into Iran without any UN sanction and bombed Natanz, Isfahan, etc., etc.
Okay.
So here also they seem to have done so, and many countries, many people, many commentators have been raising questions as to how legally justified they are under international law, because there is no evidence that has been advanced. And Mr. Trump has, of course, been maintaining that Nicolas Maduro is at the head of this drug cartel.
Right.
All right. So you heard right there what the speaker is saying. President Trump is saying that Maduro is the head of the cartel, allegedly. So Centurion is asking, is Trump right? Why did he do that? Well, you just hear right there. Centurion. International news syndicates and persons around the world are exposing the conversation that President Trump is saying that Maduro is the head of the cartel, and hence this went down.
Peddling drugs all through.
So, Ambassador Sajanhar, hold on to those thoughts. As much as the US may want to claim that this is because of the drug trafficking that was being done by Venezuelans at the behest of the Venezuelan president, remember, important to highlight that there's a lot in Venezuela that is also coveted by countries across the globe, not just the United States. You're looking at China, you're looking at Russia, you're looking at Iran. Why? Because Venezuela happens to be a country with the largest oil reserves. It's also strategically located in the Caribbean. That also proves to be a very viable alternate to, say, the Panama Canal. A host of all of those reasons we will be deep diving into. But for now, we're slipping into a quick break, going to, in fact, request Ambassador Sajanhar to stay with us as we return.
I'm telling you, so many things going on. Let's hear from persons in the parliament in Guyana, the neighboring country to Venezuela, who just recently had a lot of back and forth with them over border issues. They wanted a big piece of Guyana, and you know, they were trying to bully persons from Guyana just recently. Let's listen.
Me on the line, opposition member of parliament, Amanza Walton Desir. Ms. Desir, thanks for waking up early this morning. And I know, like many of us here in Guyana, we have been monitoring this situation early this morning. We saw President A.P.N.U meeting with his security team and saying that Guyana is closely monitoring this. CARICOM also putting out a statement on this. Your take on this, are you surprised by this?
Good morning, Gordon. Yes, we've been up since about 2 this morning monitoring what's unfolding in Venezuela. Surprised? No. I think we've been, certainly I've been drawing attention to this eventuality and the concomitant concerns for Guyana. No doubt what is happening in Venezuela is deeply concerning. And Guyana is a small nation in what is now a very tense and unpredictable region. And so our first duty has to be the safety and security of our people and our territory.
How do we do that? Because we know the realities of Guyana and our military and Venezuela. Some persons are concerned that Venezuela, if they're not able to get to the U.S., they might get to those around. So should we be concerned about that, or
should we be concerned about that? Definitely. Zachary, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Zachary saying he gave up because he knew the US was coming for his dictator, corrupt self. I'm telling you, he gave up. And let's hope that this brings a time of peace throughout the Caribbean and development in Venezuela.
Our concern mainly center around whether there will be an influx of persons seeking refuge?
Gordon, we certainly have to be concerned about all of the eventualities. I note that our international partners have very clearly stated that should there be an attack on Guyana in terms of a military attack, that they are prepared to stand shoulder to shoulder with us in defense of our country. But of course, the far more insidious threat, like we've warned before, is this possible incursion of refugees and our related wartime obligations as it relates to providing safe passage and harbor to anyone fleeing conflict. And so certainly we have to be prepared on all fronts. The issue of capacity, should there be an increase in the influx of migrants, is certainly one that we have to address our minds to quite urgently.
And I know we were just listening to some coverage by Al Jazeera this morning, and one of the persons offering commentary there was expressing concern about the capture and the removal from Venezuela of the Venezuelan president. Are you surprised by that action?
Details coming in from persons in parliament in Guyana, right? Brad, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Brad is saying, not at all. I've spent time in South America. Venezuelans are fleeing their country to be homeless on the streets of surrounding nations. Wow. So let's hope that this remedies some amount of situations for our brothers and sisters in Venezuela so that they can start to enjoy the wealth of their country again, because we know that recently Venezuela would have seen a lot of affluence, right? And it's just a couple of decades since they got these situations going on.
Did you think they were just going to go in and do whatever, or were you surprised that they've actually taken it to this level where they've thrown him out along with his wife?
Well, you can't be surprised by any of this anymore. What it, however, signals is a reversal of the rules-based order that we've come to know, particularly after the last World War. And just like the observer observed on the Al Jazeera show, it's a deep concern that with
Miam is saying, we are happy that the US stepped up. I'm pretty sure, Miam, a number of persons are happy as well and celebrating the fact that certain things are now removed from the region, their country, and they can see progress in certain directions. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Miami in the house every single time. Big up yourself, King. PA, one of our very insightful moderators, thanks for being a part of the live presentation. PA saying this, I suspect that most of the Venezuelans now living in Guyana will leave when it confirmed that Maduro is removed from office and their country is improving economically by Maduro. Big up yourself, PA, and thanks for dropping insightful commentary in the comment section.
this heralding of this new order that other states, other larger states, may begin to get ideas as to how they can achieve what they deem to be in their national and best interests. And so certainly the developments are of serious concern. The Caribbean and Latin America as a zone of peace has now been destroyed. And certainly it is a sad day, and it is something that we as Guyanese have to certainly take in stride, and we have to as well go about and craft a national approach to how we deal with this new epoch or era in our region. I think the government has to urgently brief Parliament and brief the nation on.
The government has to do a lot of things because Guyana is about to change in real ways. Like the leader just pointed out, there's going to be a heavy influx of migration either into Guyana or into other countries given these recent developments, because we're hearing that on the ground there's still a lot of military combat going on. So this unrest could cause persons to now come into Guyana, and by right, war times, you have to accept these refugees across into your country. A number of implications, a number of things. What a person saying right now in the comment section. So much going on. Thanks to everybody that's in the comment section right now. Thanks for being a part of the live presentation. Trey is saying that South Africa is Germans. Why would USA care? That's where apartheid started. I'm telling you. Trey, thanks for dropping those insightful comments into the comment section and for being a part of this live presentation. For everyone that's a part of this live right now, did you take a couple of seconds to make sure that you are subscribed to Delta 9 Media? It costs you nothing to support independent media and to make sure that you stay connected. Hit that subscription button, buddy. It costs you nothing at all to do so. Shiny is saying if NATO was involved with boots on the ground, the army would be back by the Kremlin, getting on their knees to serve. Alex is saying, I need to understand why this is happening.
At least three critical areas in my estimation. What do we currently know about the situation in Venezuela? And what are the measures being taken to protect our Guyanese citizens at home, along our borders, offshore, etc., and of course abroad in Venezuela? And what are the contingency plans should this crisis escalate or should it result in humanitarian displacement? I think if Guyanese are reassured that there is a clear plan, it will ensure calm, it will ensure that people do not resort to panic. And I want to encourage the government to keep speaking to the people in the absence of information, conjecture, etc. Usually reigns supreme, and that of course leads to panic, etc. So we have to speak to our Guyanese brothers and sisters. We have to make sure that they're informed, and so that they can be made calm.
And there's also the view, Ms. Walton Desir, that Guyana should completely sit this one out.
Y'all hear though? The Honorable Amansi is saying we got to make sure that persons stay informed. You know how you can play your part in helping everybody to getting a chance to hear all of these details all over the world? Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button. Everybody that's watching us live right now, almost 1,000 persons on the live broadcast. Take a couple of seconds and thumbs up the live, whether you're watching us live or you're going to catch this live in the rewind in the future.
Oh, just monitor and look on from afar. Is that something we can afford to do? Is that something the Caribbean can afford to do? Completely sit it out and allow the U.S. and Venezuela to duke this one out?
Certainly sitting it out. I'm concerned about what that means, because the implications for us are clear and are present. We just discussed one. Heightened migration flows. We have the possibility of, spillover. This is a neighboring territory. And so sitting it out, I am not sure what is meant by that. But to my mind, it is a case of all are involved and all are very, very deeply consumed at this point.
All right, thanks a lot for that this morning. Opposition Member of Parliament, Mamansa Walton Desir, talking about that ongoing situation in neighboring Venezuela. Thank you for speaking with us this morning, Ms. Walton Desir. Really appreciate the time and on such short notice too.
You're welcome, Gordon. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Have a good day. Back to what the U.S. President said this morning. U.S. President Donald Trump saying the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela. And Ali has indicated moments ago that he is still meeting with his security officials, and they continue to monitor the situation. But earlier, he told me briefly that we have been monitoring the situation all morning. The priority is the safety and security of our country, Guyana. President Ali also saying the Defense Board, the leadership of the GDF and the security forces are fully mobilized in accordance with our security plans. He said he has spoken also to the CARICOM Secretary General on the issue. The CARICOM Secretary General announcing moments ago that early this morning, they convened a meeting of the CARICOM Heads of Conference. That's the Conference of Heads, sorry, the Heads of Government of CARICOM. They had an early morning meeting. President Ali had his own meeting also with his military top brass and his security top brass, not just military. But the CARICOM Secretary General, in a statement saying they're monitoring the situation, they're of course concerned about it and the threat to what is called the zone of peace in the region. So they have also been monitoring the situation this morning. So CARICOM is saying they will release more information. President Irfan Ali.
You gotta remember that there's a cost for peace. There's a cost. Peace comes with a price connected to it. And that's something that we always got to make sure that we remember, right? Nick, thanks for being a part of the live. Rayan, thanks for being a part of the live. Levy, thanks for tuning in. Levy saying Guyana has been the only country with food independence. It's the only country that can feed their population with their agriculture. Big up to GT, and thanks for dropping those insightful comments into the comment section. It's something that we definitely celebrate about our beautiful nation, right? Thanks for putting that into the comment section. Julia, thanks for being a part of the live presentation.
Also saying that, and the US president indicating that he's going to hold a press conference a bit later on this morning on the latest on the action by the US military in Venezuela. We're still seeing reports coming in from CBS News, and some of the other media partners are going to head across to the BBC.
No matter where in the world, we love Guyana. What are your colors? How do you represent? I love Guyana. Order yours today. We ship worldwide. Delta 9 Media.
One love, one people, the mission complete. One love, one flag, one nation, right? Under the stars, divine presence in the sky. Unity, no war, let the children thrive. Power to the people, we keep hope alive.
A natural way to stay ready, baby. 'Cause I'm ready for you, Mr. C. The ultimate male supplement. Men's total wellness formula. Packed with essential nutrients for men's health. She'll call you Mr. C.
One Love. Advertise with us and let's help you promote your next product, project, or event. More than 1 million viewers every month in Guyana and all over the globe. No project too big, no project too small. Delta 9 Media. Let's help your project reach its widest possible audience. 100% wild-crafted sea moss. Only the best, 'cause you deserve nothing less. 8 Butterfly. Well, the headlines, the headlines, the headlines. So much going on in the beautiful country of Guyana. So much going on with our neighbors, Venezuela. I want to thank every single person that's in the live right now. Everyone that took a couple of seconds to drop comments in the comment section. Everybody that takes some time to thumbs up the live. And all the persons that are subscribed. And even more so, our very new subscribers. Listen, there are more than 2,000 pieces of video on the channel right now that you can enjoy, and it's placed neatly in playlists for your enjoyment and convenience. I want to thank everybody that's in the live that, definitely supported and made the live presentation what it was. If you ain't subscribed yet, make sure that you hit the subscription button, because we will be live again with all the updates, and we will have pre-recorded videos keeping you updated with everything that's going on in Venezuela, in Guyana, the diaspora, and around the world. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation. One love from Delta 9 Media, and I will catch you in the next flight. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation.
Stepped off the plane, so climb higher. Delta 9 visions, I'm a flyer. One love, one life, divine supplier. Roots in the dirt, but my head in the sky. Caribbean heat where the palm trees cry. Sweat off the brow, build a kingdom wide. From the Essequibo to the Delta time. Mama pray loud, stars inside our car. Immigrant hustle, never scared too far. Dollars and dreams, but I'm counting my soul. Patriots blood in my veins, we hold. One love, we rise, no fear inside. Hands to the heavens, blessings collide. Thankful alive, the present divine. One love, one heart, forever aligned. Planted on the stove, incense in the air. Ancestors whisper, they always there. Lion heart spirit, men full of prayer. Trials and triumphs are weary like flare. Delta 9 meditations, my mind on peace. Breaking chains daily, my soul released. Caribbean rhythm, my body unleashed. Thankful for the now when my joy increased. Man from Guyana, dreams on fire. Stepped off the plane, so climb higher. Delta 9 visions, I'm a flyer. One love, one life, divine supplier. Roots in the dirt, but my head in the sky. Caribbean heat where the palm trees cry. Sweat off the brow, build a kingdom wide. From the Essequibo to the Delta time. Mama pray loud, stars inside our car. Immigrant hustle, never scared too far. Dollars and dreams, but I'm counting my soul. Patriots blood in my veins, we hold. One love, we rise, no fear inside. Hands to the heavens, blessings collide. Thankful alive, the present divine. One love, one heart, forever aligned. Planted on the stove, incense in the air. Ancestors whisper, they always there. Lion heart spirit, men full of prayer. Trials and triumphs are weary like flare. Delta 9 meditations, my mind on peace. Breaking chains daily, my soul released. Caribbean rhythm, my body unleashed. Thankful for the now when my joy increased.
A natural way to stay ready, baby. 'Cause I'm ready for you, Mr. C. The ultimate male supplement, men's total wellness formula, packed with essential nutrients for men's health. She'll call you Mr. C.